Schools all across the country, one question is asked more than any other. What people don't realize is that math is used in almost every aspect of some lives. Here are some now. What's your job?
Grade level principal for the 10th grade.
I also own a company called Hospitality Advisory Services, LLC, which is a company that specializes in consulting services to the hotel industry.
Yeah.
My job is I'm an art teacher at State College High School.
Okay.
I'm a high school librarian.
My second question is, what is your favorite thing about your job?
My favorite thing about my job is my students.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, because they change every year and they're funny, and some of them really laugh at my jokes. Right, Meg? She's paying attention to airbrushing.
Favorite thing about my job, probably the favorite thing about my job would be working with the faculty and trying to help them to develop their teaching skills so that they can be as effective at providing an education to our students so that they can be very successful. That's the instructional leadership aspects of my job is what I like the most.
My favorite thing about this job is working with the students and secondarily the teachers.
I like that it's very flexible, so it's not the kind of job where I have to be there at 7 every morning and work till 7 every night or anything like that. I can work on the weekend, I can work at night, I can work in the morning, and a lot of the work I can do from home.
Do you use math in everyday life?
Certainly use math every day and all kinds of things with my job and even just outside of work, just at home in a variety of ways.
Well, at Penn State I use math a lot because at Penn State I do statistical analyses, and so I prepare analyses of research projects where, for example, I use matrix algebra to develop statistical analyses of surveys and other data that I've acquired from subjects who are typically managers in the hotel industry. And I use math to do things like calculate really general statistics like means and medians and modes and ranges of data. And I also use math to calculate more advanced statistics like linear regression analysis, and that helps me to use data that I've obtained to help managers to predict future behavior and to estimate things that they can do in order to improve their operations and improve their behavior of their employees. Things like employee engagement, employee motivation, employee intention to stay, all things that managers are concerned with. I use statistics to help managers understand how they can affect change in those things to positively benefit their organizations.
So to answer your question, math is used in more basic ways here. We tend to add numbers and we do measurements and we do calculations and we do those kinds of things. So math is very important. I myself use math more because I have to estimate quantities of things. So what's the percentage of materials we're going to use, all of those kinds of things. When students build canvases in Master Studio, they end up needing to have a amount of wood, and they have to determine how they're going to make their wood in terms of all of that.
Simply, one of them would be the Dewey Decimal System. But probably more importantly for me is I do all the budget for this library.
How does it help you?
How does math help me?
Yeah, like
Well-
get your work done or something.
It doesn't help me get my work done, but it helps me balance the library budget correctly so that I don't get overdrawn on the amount of money that I have to spend.
Math certainly helps whenever making all kinds of purchases, being able to budget, being able to make decisions about what to buy and how much to spend and comparing and shopping for a variety of things, doing some comparisons. Math is certainly necessary at work here just because as the administrator in charge of student activities, I charge the budget, so having to make decisions about how much is spent and how much is allocated for one activity versus another, or whether we can afford to spend, to send the students to a trip here or there, or we have to say no, or we have to limit the involvement, that kind of thing.
You ever been in a situation where something you learned in math or somehow math helped you to get out of that bad situation? Or
Boy, rescued by math. That's what he's asking, right?
No.
He is. He says, has math ever rescued you? I mean, I do the bills at our house, so I calculate those. I look at the interest rate. We just refinanced our house, and we got a better rate, and we saved 10 years on our mortgage. So all of those kinds of things are like really, really important. I don't know of a math problem per se, but the ability to do math is very important. So
yeah,
I consider myself, though, sort of math basic.
yeah,
If I
Well-
need to, I've got my Mac calculator and,
yeah.
Yes, because I think people are impressed with math, and if you show just a little bit of aptitude with math, people think that you're very smart, whether you are or not. And so, for example, sometimes I do expert witness testimony. So I've had cases where I'm in court and I'm asked questions by attorneys, and if I can answer that question in a mathematical way, it can be very impressive. And even if people don't understand it, they think that I'm at least competent enough in math to understand how math can be used to solve problems. I actually had a case once where I was asked a question and I was able to pull out my financial calculator and make a financial calculation right there on the stand in court. And people were very impressed by that. And the attorney on the other side, who was trying to make me look like a moron, stopped asking me questions because I think he concluded that I was smart enough that he was not able to make me look like a moron or